both in 2020 and more recently in 21. And that included featuring some of our employee stories, so using the role models of our firefighters and non-uniformed employees, so people understand the range of employment at the service. We also attend and support other local equality, diversity, inclusion groups and events such as Fresh, Rainbow Film Festival, the Asian Fire Service Association and LGBT History Month, amongst a few. Some activities have been limited throughout the last 12 months due to COVID. However, where possible, we have always been involved via Teams and many other ways to keep in contact with our communities and have that involvement with them. The action plan is attached as an appendix, which shows our ongoing work in this area. And the action plan gets updated after each Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Steering Group meeting, which is held 3 times a year. So, any questions?
Lovely. Thanks, Natalie. And again, another demonstration of some great work being carried out in this area. So always good to receive this report so we can see exactly what is happening. So thank you for that. So questions or comments from members? Nobody? No? Everybody happy with the content? So can I have a proposer and seconder to note the report then, please?
Yeah, I'll propose that.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. I'll second. Oh, sorry, that's seconded by Paul. I jumped in a bit quick there, so thank you, Paul. So I'll just allow a few seconds in case anyone wishes to indicate otherwise, which nobody is. So we're noting that report. So thank you, members, and thanks again, Natalie. And then we move to this afternoon's final agenda, item 14, the reasonable adjustments update. And again, back to you, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report's the committee with an update on the reasonable adjustments that we've provided to our employees over the last year, and the committee's estimate the contents of the report. The service is required to make any reasonable adjustments for employees that have a disability in the service, and this report gives an overview of the types of reasonable adjustments we make in the service. Overall, the service has supported 131 employees today and currently has 26 reasonable adjustment cases which are live. The majority of these are for dyslexia, but we also support employees in areas such as dyspraxia, dyscalculia, ADHD, bad backs, hearing and various other things, but the majority of our cases are in those areas. The duration of the cases and the support we give to the employee may last from a few months to the duration of their employment, or as in many cases, some people do dip in and out as they go through their career with us, particularly if they go for things like promotion. They find they might need some more support when they've had a promotion in the service, particularly with dyslexia. I won't detail all the reasonable adjustments process at section 5 because that is similar to what we normally do. The types of adjustments we make, again, they're year on year, very similar adjustments we make for our employees. We provide specialist equipment, software, tuition, depending on the individual needs of the employee. So each employee within the service is looked at as an individual and assessed with their role. Then we would ascertain what they would need to undertake their role and make them as efficient and support them as much as we can. One of the things that we have allowed more recently is for training sessions to be recorded to aid short-term memory. That's something that we hadn't done before. We have also introduced a specialist dyslexia font, which is being used by many of our employees. So some of the changes that we've implemented could be seen as quite small, but also make a large impact on our employees. So we continue to introduce all of the adjustments as detailed in the report. You can see there are various different ones, and many people require more than one adjustment, and the support that we give them can go on for some time. The costs involved at the report, as you can see at section 7, the service has spent £2,390.43 on reasonable adjustments in the last year, and the service will be able to reclaim a proportion of these through access to work. we use Access to Work as the government body to provide us with some funding, and we are allowed to claim back some of that funding if it goes over £1,000, or if it is for specialist areas such as tuition, and then we are able to claim all of that back. You will note that this year the spend for reasonable adjustments is lower than on previous years. Some of that is due to the COVID restrictions, in the fact that we do have a backlog of some employees trying to get assessments because of the COVID restrictions, being unable to do face-to-face on that, and also to protect the external people doing those assessments. The service has been recognised as holding good practice in supporting our neurodiverse employees, particularly, as I said, those with dyslexia. And at the Dyslexia Awards covering the West Midlands region, we won the Supportive Employer for a second time in November 2020. And the service has also shared our good practice with other services within the UK. And also, more recently, we have been contacted by an ex-firefighter, Dr. B.A. Clark in America, who is sharing the work that we do on dyslexia with Microsoft and the North American Fire Training Directors Association to increase awareness in American fire services around dyslexia. And I've also been asked to speak as a key speaker with those two agencies on a conference in America. So that will be quite exciting, but we do also share our knowledge with UK fire services, and we also listen to their good practice as well, because there is a lot of good practice going on in many UK fire services, particularly in the area of dyslexia. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Natalie, and congratulations on the award that you achieved in November. It sounds a really fantastic opportunity to speak at the American conference and to extend our reach, our influence across the wide ocean. So it would be interesting to have some sort of feedback on how successful that has been in due course. So thank you. So in terms of questions or comments from members, Paul Wynn, would you like to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, well done. Fantastic news. Me being dyslexic, heavily dyslexic as well, I got an award 2 years ago from Shropshire Dyslexia for being a counsellor, actually. So I've never done training, never anything like that. I wished I had it done, because I've hid this fact for all my life. So very, very well done, and very proud of the service for doing it. Well done.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Paul. Thank you. Any other question? Eric?
Yeah, I'd just like to add my thanks also to the work that you're doing, Natalie, and also, you know, as Chris has said, widening the scope of Shropshire Fire Service, you know, across the divide, across the oceans. It is interesting, just going back earlier to what I was saying about this leadership course. We had a gentleman on from Darlington who suffers from Asperger's syndrome, and he mentioned to the Laura Gibb from HMICF4S this morning that he believes that as part of the inspection regime, this should be noted. They call it neodiversity, I think, that should be noted as well as just divert, because it's not picked up. And he made the point, and she actually agreed, that they will be widening their scope from HMICF4S in terms of these sort of issues, which are not commonly appreciated and known. So it is something that will be getting wider acknowledgement for sure. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Eric. Natalie, did you want to come back at all on any of those comments?
Yeah, thank you for those comments. And obviously, it's all the team and the service that make all of this happen, and the support that the employees get, particularly around neurodiversity, and, you know, the trainers, the training team, the development team. They give such good support to our employees through their journey. So, you know, it does take all of us to put that support in place. So we might start on some of the journey, and the journey for the individuals then carries on and gets supported in lots of different ways in the service. So, you know, it takes lots of people to make sure it works everywhere. And there is an awful lot of work going on in lots of UK fire services around neurodiversity, and there's many webinars that we attend at the moment on this subject. So we're all, you know, we just try and share that information and keep learning where we can. But thank you for those comments. Well, that was good to hear.
That's great. Thank you for that, Natalie. Okay, so unless there are any other questions or comments, we're asked to note this report. So if somebody would be prepared to propose and second it, please.
Paul and myself, yeah.
Lovely, that's great. Thank you very much. I'll allow a few seconds in case anybody wishes to say otherwise. I don't suppose there will be. Nobody is, so that report is noted. So that's great, lovely. Thanks again, Natalie. Right, everyone. Well, that brings us to the end of our meeting this afternoon. It's taken a good couple of hours, but there are some great items for us to consider and discuss. So thank you to everyone for your contributions and to officers for their presentations and taking questions. Also to any members of the public that have sat in on our meeting this afternoon. We look forward to welcome you at future meetings. This is the last meeting of the what might be grandly called the municipal year. The committee might look a little bit different post May the 6th. So can I just thank the committee for its work over the last 12 months, for its contributions, its comments, its support for the service, and I'd particularly like to thank Keith Roberts, who I know this will be his last meeting of the committee, as he'll be leaving the Fire Authority on the 6th of May. So thank you, Keith, for your service to the authority, and as always, obviously as a former chairman of this committee as well. And I'm sure the whole committee and officers would want to wish you well in the future. So that being said, I'll declare the meeting closed. Take care, everyone, and hope to see you all after the 6th of May. So.